As dads, some days we feel like we have all the answers, and some days we feel like we don't have a clue. If that describes you, you're at the right place. This is the All Pro Dad Podcast. Welcome to the All Pro Dad Podcast, where each week we take a look at just one question. We talk about what we've gotten wrong mostly, occasionally what we've gotten right. We talk about what the experts say, and we leave you with one simple but powerful pro move. I'm your host, Ted Lowe, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Bobby Lewis, and Mr. BJ Foster.
Hey there.
You guys welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
We're going to dive right into the question of the episode. And this is an important one. It's why is it so important to listen to your kids? Why is it so important to listen to your kids? Who listened to you the most growing up, guys? Who is the person you go, they're going to really listen to me? Or you felt like they were excited to hear from you? Who would that be for you guys?
Man, I don't know about when I was super little, but I remember graduating high school and going off to college. And the person I wanted to talk to most was my grandpa. So I would call him on like random trips to campus. I'm like driving from my apartment up to class. I'm like, hey, Grandpa, I'm going to biology class today. And he's like, great. But it was funny because my grandma would pick up the phone in the house and my grandpa would pick up the phone in the garage. And then when I was done talking, I'd be like, all right, see you later. And they would just keep talking to each other through the line, through the house. And it was like, isn't Bobby a nice boy? Like, it was just so funny. I'd listen to their conversation and sometimes pretend to hang up, but still just kind of listen to them, which is cool.
Awesome. Yeah. It's a good thing they did like you because you would know if they didn't.
If they didn't, I would have heard. I would have heard the secrets. Yeah.
BJ, what about you?
Probably my mom. My dad too, but my mom probably more than anybody.
Yeah. I think for me, it was my aunt and uncle. I always felt like, wow, they're excited to see me, and just great listeners and would delight and give great wisdom. So I think that's who it was for me. And I think our kids need their dads to be good listeners. I mean, it's great for them to have grandpa and mom and all that. But dads, if we can learn to listen, which I don't think a lot of dads were famous for, I always feel like just stereotypically though, I think women can be way better listeners. We're fixers sometimes, or we're going a million miles an hour. Yep. And so I think that's an important thing for us to remember is our kids need to know that dad will listen. And again, we'll use the word for the millionth time on this podcast, and that's to be a safe listener.
Yes.
To our kids, we're not going to try to fix you. We're going to listen. Here's why I think, with dads, we're like, okay, listening stereotypically, sounds a little maybe even feminine, or that's like, isn't that what a counselor does? And like, why is this so important? I want to give you a couple of thoughts on that. It builds trust and strengthens relationship. It shows them, your kids, that you value their thoughts and their opinions.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I know the people that I call up or I text or whatever, I want to be around them. That's why I want to talk to them. And if the kids know that we're listening, it just conveys to them, yeah, we want to be around you. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. What a powerful thing for a kid to hear.
That's right. And we talk a lot. Number two is it encourages emotional expression. As I'm working on a book about emotions, I think with our kids and we're helping them process, they can't process their emotions if we don't ask them about their emotions, if we don't listen. And so it gives them a space to get that out and to talk about that. I think it also models when you're listening, when they're not in the middle of emotion, it gives them a chance to process more of the logical part of their brain and process emotions in a safe place. There's that word again. With you, what did you find with teenagers and listening? Why is that so important, BJ?
I mean, it's the central part of the relationship. It's how you connect. I mean, you're not going to connect if you don't know who they are. And that's the key is if you want to know who they are, then you have to be listening. You have to be listening in every way. Even, this might be weird. This might be more with the eyes, but you need to listen to their body language. You need to, see how their facial expressions, what they're doing there. You need to see how they respond to stuff. And then just, gosh, what's going on underneath the surface? You got to be, the more you listen intently, the deeper your connection will go.
It's so true. So good.
And the more likely they'll come back and talk to you again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In youth ministry, it doesn't matter how great the program is if they don't know the adults there care about it. That's the most appealing thing, right? When I was in youth ministry too, we would ask, take kids home or whatever. You go, hey, tell me your life story in 3 minutes. And they look so surprised that adult cares. And it would just be that great connection.
Yeah, I used to take kids on a backpacking trip through Colorado. And one of the things that we would do is around every meal, each kid would have an opportunity to tell their life story, but it would be an hour long. And everybody would be able to ask questions. And I'm telling you, there wasn't a single time where there weren't tears. So kids
Why is that?
I just think kids they've got a lot that they're carrying, and there's very little opportunity for them to pour out. Like there's very few safe times for them to just kind of release, I mean, I think there's something to their physically, they're doing a lot physically, but you kind of, when you're on the trail together, you're relying on each other in such a way that you bond, where it feels like I can say stuff. I can unload about the things that are happening at home, at the things that are happening at school, and in my relationships. And it can be hard to replicate something like that at home, but the more you take the opportunity to just kind of be around and kind of be that place where they can unload, I'm telling you, they're chomping at the bit to do it. They just need the place where they feel safe to do it.
They just have to have the setting. And there's going to be a type of kid, like we've got 4, and there's one of them, he's not going to talk unless it's just the 2 of you or the 3 of you. He's never, ever going to compete to say anything. So with those kids, to have those kind of windows of times, hey, we want to hear your story. So if you've got a kid that's not a big talker, that one-on-one time is so huge. I speak as one of the parts of my job. And so we had to figure out early on with 4 kids, how do we make this work with our family? So what I started telling people is I don't fly by myself. I'm going to bring somebody with me. It's probably not going to be who you want, which is my wife, who's great on stage, who now travels with me now that our kids are older. But I would take a kid with us, and it's their best memories. And it was constant questions. And I would always come back with so much intel on like what's going on with them, and just delight. It's, and when you're listening to them, it's not just the serious stuff, it's the funny stuff. And kids are funny. Yeah. Number 3 is it promotes confidence and self-worth. Asking questions makes a kid feel valued. My voice matters. Like you're asking me a question because you care about my life and you care about what I have to say. And I just think a lot of times we talk at our kids, and to let them talk back it's just powerful. Well,
if you've ever seen teenagers all together, there isn't a lot of like listening going on. There's not a, hey, let's give that person the floor. They're all like trying to get their voice in. Everybody's trying to get their voice in. And so for them to be in an environment where it's like, no, you've got the floor. It just kind of makes them, oh, wow, this is unusual.
Oh, so it feels different because when I'm with Dad, I get the floor and I get to listen, and there's follow-up questions.
Right. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah.
One thing that I have tried very consciously to do is if I'm holding something and one of my kids walks up, I put it down. It's a very subtle thing. If it's a cell phone, a screwdriver, spatula, it doesn't matter what you're holding. If you're in the kitchen, if you're in the garage, it doesn't matter. When they come up to walk, I try to set it down. It's like this nonverbal cue to them, like, oh, whatever I was doing is less important than you right now. So this is gone. My eyes are on you. You've got my attention. I don't know if they pick up on that, but I'm doing it consciously. And like, this is over. You're it. Yeah. What's the deal? Tell me what's up. And maybe they pick up on it, maybe they don't, but I'd like to think that they do.
Well, you're speaking to active listening, right? You ask questions, and how do they know we're still tuned in?
Well, that's the thing is if I'm still holding the cell phone, I'm sending a text and I'm like, oh, text. Oh, kid walks up. If I am just kind of glancing at you, but still holding on to what I was doing, do they know if my brain is fully engaged with them or if it's still half on what I was doing? If it's super important, I could say, okay, hang on a second, sweetie, I got to finish sending this text, and then I'll put it down. But if I'm still holding on to whatever I was doing when they walked up, they may think that I'm only giving them a little, as much as I think I can afford to give them without really getting away from what I really was wanting to do, which was what I was holding. Small thing, but I think it helps.
It is. It's the looking at them. It's the active listening. It's acknowledging what they're saying, or just, hey, wait, say it again. Like, could you clear it up? Now, I thought this, clarifying questions with them, or just like we do with our friends, going, oh, that's good. That makes sense. Oh, that's understandable. It's those simple responses without trying to fix. Number 4 is it helps you understand their needs and concerns.
Yes.
Kids are changing every day. Just when we think we've got them figured out, something changes, their world changes, their body changes. So just questions and listening. We keep tune of what their needs and concerns are, because it changes day. I mean, they could be doing great and they'll have an interaction with some kid in the hallway, and now they have different needs and different concerns. Have you found that with your kids, BJ?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, the needs and concerns change sometimes daily. So yeah, you have to consistently see what the new color is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even little things like, I thought we were big fans of unicorns. No, we're big fans of kitty cats now. Okay, well, that's a change and a concern. It doesn't have to be like life-altering stuff too, but they need to know that you're paying attention. You're tuned into all the things that are important to them.
Well, that's good. It's good. Number 5, it improves problem-solving skills. By listening, you give your child the opportunity to think through problems aloud and come up with their own solutions. It's 2 kind of processors. There's verbal, outside processors, and inside processors. But I think asking questions helps either type of kid that you have to go, oh, I'm going to talk you through this. And then, I don't know, it's like weaning them off, right? Less direction.
We do this even with homeschool stuff, because we homeschool our 3 kids. And a lot of the times they're coming to me for a shortcut. They just want the answer. And I'm like, I'm not going to give you the answer, but let me rephrase it for you. And then you think through what you're going to do. They'll ask me a question. I'll kind of ask them a question back. And it's that question versus question game. And eventually they come to the answer on their own. The easy way out is for me just to tell you what to do. In a lot of areas of life, I want you to figure it out.
That's good. Number 6, it strengthens emotional regulation. When children feel understood, they're better equipped to handle different emotions. I've shared this on the podcast before. I know it's good. I grew up getting spankings, which, I don't blame my dad for that. I can't, it was just part of life and part of when I was growing up. And my dad would say, if you'll just stop talking, I'll stop spanking. But I had to say everything I wanted to say and needed to say. And my button was feeling misunderstood. So, and I would watch that spin out of control. It's like, I want to be understood so badly. And so I think with our kids, when they feel like, even when you don't agree with them, but you understand, you seek first to understand, right? It's so for a kid to go, my dad at least knew, what I was wanting to do. He didn't let me go to the place I wanted to go that weekend, but he knew why I wanted to go. He knew it was important to me, and it kind of helps him process that.
Yeah.
Number 7, it fosters respect and empathy. Actively listening teaches kids about respect and empathy. Again, we talk about this a lot, with marriage, especially with our kids, is just, you don't have to agree to validate. I can tell you're very frustrated right now. Let's talk about it. You're not fixing anything. You're not changing anything. You can stick your ground. Your main things can still be your main things. But when you stop and say, you're very frustrated, or I can see you're so excited about this, and to listen to them, they go, oh, he understands why I'm excited about this. Because sometimes we think we know why they're excited about something or sad about something, and we don't until we ask. As my wife said, you're not great at reading minds. Stop thinking that you are. And our last one is it prevents miscommunication sometimes. Yeah. Not always. BJ, how does it prevent miscommunication sometimes?
Well, I think one of the biggest problems of miscommunication is when you start to make assumptions that you assume that you assume that they're thinking like you. And I guarantee your kid is not thinking like you. Yeah. They're thinking very differently. And so when you ask the question, you just put assumptions aside and you become a learner and you become someone who's investigative. And let me find out what you think about this and where you're coming from. You're not just projecting what you think onto the person.
Yeah.
BJ, that's good. That's good. You guys, this is good stuff. And I think it's that time. It's that time we jump into the playbook. Okay, guys, Here's some plays for the playbook. And these are questions that you can ask your kid. If you're driving or running or doing whatever, of course, you don't have to write these down. So you just go to the show notes a little bit later. But I just want to give you a couple of those questions that can help you listen well with your kid or ask your kid. Number one, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Just a fun question.
Move things with my mind.
Move things with my mind. I like that. Teleport. Number two, what's one thing that made you happy today?
Oh, that's a good one.
I like that. Number three, what's one thing you'd change about school if you could? Number four, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? Number five, what's something you've done recently that you're proud of? So it's just these questions. And again, we'll put them for you. And the play of the day, which you can sign up for, we give you a huddle up question to ask with your kid every day. So you don't have to come up with these. You don't have to come up. That's our job. You have your job. We have our job. We want to provide those for you. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, you guys. And now it's time to move to the pro move of the week. The pro move of this week is to go to the show notes and pick out one of those questions and just ask your kid.
Yeah.
And again, it can be part of what you're doing at night when you're tucking them in. It can be, taking them to practice or to school and just see what happens, and they see that you're listening, and just watch what happens. And then let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
When you guys are learning things, please let us know in the comments. Or if you have an episode that you think, I can't believe these guys have not talked about this question, please let us know those in the comments as well. And if you could go rate and review this podcast, that would help other people to find it. If you're looking for more ways to stay on top of your dad game, you can go to allprodad.com, or you can go to the show notes, and we have our LinkedIn profiles. But most of all, we want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. We know that you and your kids will be glad that you did. Thanks for listening to the All Pro Dad podcast. All Pro Dad is the fatherhood program of the nonprofit Family First. Along with our motherhood program, iMom, we exist to help you love your family well. Subscribe to our daily email, the All Pro Dad Play of the Day, by going to allprodad.com/subscribe and get daily powerful and practical fatherhood tips in your inbox. The All Pro Dad podcast is hosted by me, Ted Lowe, produced by Bobby Lewis.